Tonight on Be Something Wonderful, the most powerful affirmation in denial that bends reality instantly. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. Here we are in Ho Chi Minh City in Saigon, coming to you with another powerful video. This comes from an early morning session with a client, and he had some questions on affirmations and denials. He felt confused, right? He's been into this a while, and there's mixed messages on whether you should affirm, whether you should deny. Am I just repeating things in vain? When I deny things, am I keeping them in place? All that we talked about. But really, my answer, and it's been the answer that on all of all the videos really, is the same message. There's nothing more powerful. There's no affirmation more powerful than assuming and claiming your wish already fulfilled, assuming that reality, your desired outcome. Why? Because you don't have to deny anything or reject anything. It's implied in the affirmation of what you want. Moving to what you want. Those other unwanted realities, those things that you want to deny or reject, dissolve. They fade into the background. They become shadows as you put your light on what you want. I want to hit this. He says, Tom, I'm confused about the best way to practice affirmations and denials. And the question, he had some specific questions. Does affirming imply that I'm not who I want to be or I don't have what I desire? Right? Because I've talked about that in many videos. Well, it does if it's coming from a place of lack. If you're affirming, hear this, if you're affirming, well, you're keeping your gaze on the outside conditions, right, on the outside world, or you're trying to resolve the temporary inner conditions of thoughts and feelings, trying to affirm your way to feeling good or thinking good thoughts, right, or trying to resolve the outer unwanted conditions. That keeps your gaze outward. That keeps you're looking outward. You're fixing your gaze on things that are effects, and not affirming within. The only reality is your imagination. The only reality is your assumption, right? The only reality is the reality that you assume through your assumption, through your claim, through your announcement, right, of reality. Do denials create resistance and keep an unwanted reality alive or active? Well, they do, because when you're putting your attention on them, right? You are awareness of being. You are light, right? You are consciousness. So wherever you move that consciousness in the form of, in 3D, we move it with our attention and our focus. When you put your attention and focus on what you don't want, on that denying it, you do create resistance and you do create that unwanted reality. So what's the best way to affirm what we want and at the same time deny the unwanted realities? By assuming your wish fulfilled, by moving into your assumption that you are that which you want to be and that you already have that which you desire. That is the best and most powerful affirmation in denial. Because why? Denial is implied. There's no resistance with that. You're focused on moving into what you want. Affirming from a deeper place of truth and knowing is always powerful. Even as you have some doubt and fear. We talked about this. Even if you have a little doubt and fear, remember, your assumption is infinitely more powerful than a little doubt and fear. When your assumption and your faith is greater than your fear and doubt, then that reality must be what you experience. That must be what's unfolding in 3D reality. So there's nothing more powerful than assuming that you are what you want to be and have that which you desire. That's how I want to start today. So you don't have to actively deny or reject anything. The denial and disappearance of the unwanted state of reality is implied as you move your attention and focus on what you desire, with the knowing it's already yours. As you move as consciousness, as awareness on what you want, that becomes your reality. When? Immediately. And those other realities dissolve. They fade into the background. They fade back into quantum potential. Remember, everything is potential. You are all potential realities right now. And those realities, those unwanted ones, fade back into that potential. They go back into the unity of all that you are, right? So there's no reason whenever you're resisting or rejecting anything, remember you are all things. So you're rejecting or you're resisting a portion of who you are, a part of who you are. Right? And that always creates resistance and negative emotion and negative circumstances and conditions. Right? It's not about rejecting anything. It's about seeing the whole, seeing the greater reality behind it and calling that forth. Remember, you become indifferent to undesirable conditions as you see your assumption and desired reality as the only reality. You can't help it but become indifferent to anything that's not your assumption now, anything that's not your desired reality. Because you are reality, and your assumption as desired reality is the only reality, right? Undesirable, unwanted conditions, meaning outer physical people, events, and circumstances, or inner mental thoughts and feelings, disappear. They fade into the background. They fade back into potential as you don't try to resolve them, as you don't resist them, as you don't reject them, as you don't try to deny them or get rid of them. You simply move your attention. You become indifferent to them, indifferent to the messy middle, indifferent to those changing thoughts and feelings, indifferent to those conditions, not trying to make something happen or correct them or fix them, but yet move your attention on your desired assumption. So Neville Goddard, here's what he says when asked about affirmations and denials. He says, this is big, let us leave these schools of thought that use affirmations and denials. Hear this. Yes, the best affirmation and the only effective one is an assumption which, in itself, implies denial of the former state. The implication is there. Remember, we've always talked about that. Your assumption implies you have it all and you are it all. That's it. It implies everything. It's that I am. It's that greater awareness. I am that. Right? I don't live there anymore. I live here. Right? The best denial is total indifference. Right? Things wither and die through indifference. This is Neville Goddard. They are kept alive through attention. You do not deny a thing by saying it does not exist. Do you hear this? Remember, everything exists in potential. So saying it doesn't exist creates the existence. Put your light on it. Right? Allow it. Don't reject any quantum possibility. Allow all possibilities to exist. They're going to exist whether you allow them or not. But when you allow them, now you're freed up to focus on what you want. You're not keeping those unwanted or those undesired realities alive. You're not keeping your light on it. Right? This is Neville Goddard right here laying it out for us. So be indifferent to non-fulfillment. Be indifferent to doubt. Be indifferent to negative conditions. Be indifferent to the messy middle of temporary inner and outer conditions, right? The outer conditions and your thoughts about them. Your pure consciousness and awareness, where what you put your attention on is reality, and it's the only reality. Keep your eyes fixed on Jesus or that I am or that greater ideal or that reality. Remember the story when Peter, the disciples were all in a boat, and they see Jesus from a distance walking on water, and he calls to Peter, right? And Peter starts walking on water, but Peter, when he doesn't have his eyes fixed on Jesus, or in other words, on his assumption, on his ideal, on the I am, because remember, Jesus represents your highest ideal, represents that Christ within you, your I am. When he takes his eye off that, he starts believing in the storm, in the waves, in the tormenting conditions around him, right? And starts sinking, right? It's only when he put his eyes back on Jesus, right? Or that I am, or your ideal, or your assumption, that you now walk on water. You now walk over that doubt, over that fear, over those stormy 3D conditions, right? To everything you want. You walk over the messy middle, the messy conditions, right? Even in the midst of the messiest conditions, right? Peter walked around, like Peter cried out, Lord, save me. In other words, Lord, law, right? That greater power, save me. But it's Peter that saved himself by focusing on that Christ within him, that I am, by moving back to that assumption, right? You are your own Savior. So remember, drop importance. Importance implies that conditions are greater than you, that the conceptions, what you want, those desires are greater than you. The conceiver and source of your reality is the only reality, right? You're giving all the power to these conditions. You're saying those conditions are source, or those conditions are reality. When you're source of those conditions, you are reality, right? Importance implies separation, the possibility of non-fulfillment, that you're not one with your conceptions and perceptions and your creations. You're one with them and you're greater than them, right? Stop giving your power away to these conditions. And that's what importance does. It doesn't mean that things aren't important to you. It means you are all things. So everything it's the unity of the one. That's what's important. Your unity with creation, your unity with infinity, with one consciousness, recognizing that, right? It's built in. You don't have to give any excess importance to anything. And when you are praying, this is what Matthew 6:7, when you're praying, do not use meaningless repetition or vain repetitions. This is what Jesus said. In other words, affirmations and your assumptions are a form of prayer, right? Your affirmations, your assumptions are a form of prayer. And as you say them, if you're saying them to get something, to change 3D conditions, to not feel that lack inside, and not feel that fear and doubt, now they're vain repetitions, right? They're coming from a needing and a wanting things to be different. Instead, come from a place where you know things are different within, and that the outer conditions will show that, right? They're in vain and meaningless when your focus and intention is on the changing something out there, on the changing inner conditions of thoughts and feelings, or the changing outer conditions of temporary people, events, and circumstances. They're in vain when your gaze is outward, right? Fix your eyes on Jesus. Fix your eyes on that I am. Fix your eyes on your imagination, the only reality, on your assumption, right? It's the inner chamber that's the only reality. Remember how Scripture always talks about go to the inner chamber. It's that inner chamber is the only reality. So the best affirmation and denial that bends reality instantly, you got it, is your wish fulfilled. It's the assumption that you already are that you want to be. You already have that which you want, right? That implies denial of unwanted realities. They no longer have your light, and it firmly sets you in to that assumption, because you remember, assumptions are the only reality. What you announce, what you declare is the only reality. What you assume is the only reality. Affirm that, affirm what you want, and then allow that higher power to bring it forth in 3D reality, for you to see it and perceive it and live it in 3D reality. The best affirmation and denial that bends reality instantly. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for liking and sharing the videos. Thank you for being a part of this channel, and thank you for joining the membership channel for those that joined. Also, we have a Facebook group, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors. You can find us there at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful. We have Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, or just go to our website anytime at tomkearin.com or besomethingwonderful.com. Creators, with great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude, this is Tom with Be Something Wonderful. See you soon.